job. So Rare Atom down 1-0. They are going to be on the blue side now, which means they can potentially look to first pick the Lilia themselves, except they can't because it's banned.
Yep, and that Zeri gets banned away too. Can't let Angel have that. It's the trauma bans, as Shibby always likes to say.
I like
yeah,
that.
There's a lot of trauma coming through after that one.
That's a great serve. That's great. Man,
oh
okay,
my god,
what?
it's so great. I love it.
With the blessing, I will take that one. So what's going to be that last ban? The Ashe banned away, so stuff like the Leona becomes more powerful. I think Lucian also for both these mid laners is just an instant no-brainer because they're so powerful at this in their own way. Angel will pick that up if you don't pick it, so it really depends on what Vikla wants to go towards. With the Zeri banned, you might have also banned out one of the matchups which Vikla doesn't want to play against as much in that mid lane. I think Lucian first pick makes a lot of sense. Why would you ban the Zeri if you're not going to pick the Lucian? They pick up that Leona. Yeah, the Ashe Braum is down, but this is a very different set of priorities than their bans would indicate.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you just really want to get this Leona that badly, right? And maybe play a more aggressive flavor of bot lane. You know, we talked about how, like, Vicla's fights weren't always the cleanest, but I thought he played an objectively solid game on Lucian. Like, it wasn't like, oh man, this is, like, so bad. Obviously, he had that one miscue in the jungle fight, but his callings did a pretty good job of driving people away on the side of OMG, but we'll see that Rumble come through and the Vi pickup for Tianjin.
Tianjin has been a big, aggressive, engaged player. So that's why the Lilia, the Rengar, and the Sejuani have all been very powerful for him. He has played the Vi a lot. He had one of the funniest MVP games that I've ever seen, where he had a 0-7-6 game on Vi, but he stole 2 Barons, he was still the MVP. So that's what we've got out of this player. Sometimes he's mistimed his engages, but it is very important to have him on that go button, because OMG like to play fast. They like to play those snappy engages, and going into someone like that Lucian with a Rumble behind you as well is a good combination for OMG on paper. It's fast, it has a lot of damage, and it opens up a lot of opportunities for them. RA, they do lock in that Lucian for Vikla, which does get through this. I'm surprised that it wasn't locked in for OMG, but I suppose with the Rumble up and available, they want to lock that instead.
Yeah, and I like this Aatrox that's coming through, mostly because, you know, the damage that you're going to get out of your bot lane and your mid lane are ripe targets for Vi, and at least Aatrox is a champion that can, you know, survive through a cease and desist, right? But we'll see if we get the ultimate combination of Taliyah Vi that everybody has loved so much. I don't see why you wouldn't pick it up here. And also, it kind of hurts the Lucian a lot.
It does. It really does. And we don't see a lot of the Taliyah anymore in the LPL. We see so many AD mid laners that AP mid laners are kind of fallen by the wayside. I have to say, I think LPL has done well with AP junglers, but they are over-prioritizing at this point. You can still play other stuff if you are good enough at the AD bruises, and make sure that the individual jungle matchup doesn't fall out of proportion. As it stands right now, RA do need some extra magic damage. OMG ban away that Ziggs. The Kai'Sa's banned away as well, so it will be coming through from the jungle. Lilia's gone. You can ban away the Zyra. I think that makes a lot of sense. Ban away the Shyvana instead. Look, I think Shyvana is strong. I think Zyra as a disengaged champion, though, into this comp from OMG would have been very, very powerful.
Yeah, I guess maybe they're electing to take away a champion that you can't point and click as much as Vi, right? Or as Vi, you know, when you're playing Vi, I should say.
Yes.
You know, we're on the other side. Like, if it is a Zyra, like, there's a world where it's like, hey, the Zyra walked up a little bit too close. Let's blow her up in an instant. But, you know, it still does feel pretty bad because you're going to get a lot of control over these team fights, whereas OMG, I like the control that they currently have, and a lot of that coming from the Taliyah. We talked about how it's going to be really good against Lucian, but the micro stuns on everybody that is showing for RA right now are going to be the big thing that we talk about in fights, I think.
Yeah, so alright, they have themselves powerful lanes. We know that the Aatrox does well into the Rumble, or at least can do if you survive to a good enough first and second back. And of course, that Lucian, very, very strong early on. If you lock in the Misfortune, that's 3 very powerful lanes. I like the combo from OMG. The combo is great. You can start off with a Jhin or the Vi. Depends on what you have there, and you still have a support to lock in as well, so that can definitely change the equation in terms of your pick and engage. Something like a Nautilus or a Rel could be very, very powerful. Whereas on the other side, RA, big laning presence. If Aatrox gets himself into a good position, he'll be very powerful on those flank team fights. And of course, Vikla, if he gets himself a good laning phase too, can potentially allow Rare Atom to have a lot of pressure and a lot of different angles to play around. Last pick jungle for Xiaohao. We have seen Ivan rise to prominence in LPL for the first time, really, ever. The only other LPL player I can think of, I mean, Tien played a lot of it, and we've had Weiwei play it for a while, but the only ever time we ever saw this before, really, was thinking back to, like, Season 7 MSI, when that was, you know, MLXG back then playing it for RNG. He was, like, one of the few players that were played it, weirdly, you know, given his notoriety as, you know, the Lee Sin and the Xin Sao, and, of course, the Nocturne as well. Last pick of that Rakan gives you some extra laning phase power for OMG, which does at least give OMG another early lane to play through. The Taliyah's likely losing, Rumble's likely pushing in early, and then of course the bot lane's going to work as well too. Big combos for OMG, big individual power from Ahri with their own big wombo combo too.
It feels like they're going to be hanging their hats on this Aatrox a lot. You know, obviously, the Ivern's going to be useful for your AD carries, but they're going to get blown up, singled out, targeted out in an instant. And I feel like a lot of these fights would probably, unless RA is absolutely running them over, like we're talking 4-for-1s or anything like that, is going to end with Ivern shielding Aatrox and trying to outlast everything else in a fight. As you mentioned, the Ivern, it just doesn't feel like an LPL champion, man.
It doesn't, but it's becoming more and more of one, because you know what it allows you to do? It allows it allows you to fight harder, because you have all the shields, you have a redemption, and some. If you use the right mental gymnastics, it can help. So, OMG, Rare Atom going into game 2. Game 1 was over in the blink of an eye. It was not particularly one-sided up until the game ended, but then one fight went wrong around that dragon, and the whole game went with it. OMG, if they win the second game, they will seal out a 2-0 and seal themselves first place in Group Nirvana here amongst the teams which did not succeed in that group stage, and Rare Atom will fall to third. Rare Atom will have to claw back into a 2-1 victory if they also want to have thoughts of claiming that first place. There's a big combo on either side. We'll see which one is piloted more effectively. We saw how scrappy the fights were before, with even more engaged tools and big combos. That is signaling more of the same.
You talked about how you really want to get that first place slot. You don't want to have to go up against the group of Sen teams. It would just almost assuredly spell doom for RA if they were the ones to fall. But it's a brand new game, Nymaera, and the good news is for Xiaohao, a little bit less pressure when it comes to playing Ivern. It's just like you're a shield bot, you're you know, clearing these camps super easily, and it's nothing too stressful. You're just kind of using your really long arms and legs and just having a good time and slapsticking around the map.
Yeah, just as Harlem Globetrotter dunking on them when you can too. But yeah, I think that I do really like this Ivan, because if you're going for that single first pick, well, I do and I don't. Ivan is very good at protecting a first target with his shields, and once he gets items, he's very good at protecting and nullifying a lot of damage too with stuff like Redemption, especially now that the Warmog support meta is now kind of out of the question. You can go towards stuff like Locket as well, and stuff like Leona. We might have ourselves a level 1 fight. They're hiding in this brush. I don't think they know about this. They're going to walk up, and that's going to be the end of that fight for now. But yeah, later into the game, this Ivan value might be able to stop the Vi first pick in the big combo. If OMG break a certain damage margin, though, the shields aren't going to matter, because you're going to kill them through it. And then after that first person is dead, I think the problem becomes that more exacerbated. So, OMG, they're looking to keep things off as best as they keep things above that margin as best they can. If they can kill the first target through all of the tank and the shield, that is a very, very good position for them.
Based on the champions they're playing, though, it feels like you need heavy investment to be able to knock out that first member. You know, if you're looking at a 2v2 between Xiaohao, Vikla, you know, this mid-jungle 2v2, Angel does not have a lot of damage to be able to burst through an Ivern shield. Even if Starry is nearby, just simply by virtue of how Jhin works, it feels like you might not be able to effectively break those shields.
Yesterday, we did see a Jhin go Shiv into Serpent's Fang. It was hope that ended up going towards that one. So you can go towards the Serpent's Fang onto Starry, which would be valuable this game. There's a chance of that being... there's a chance of a shield pickup item being used from Joy as well. If he goes towards a Locket, typically goes towards the Zeke's Convergence or something like that for the early game stats and the damage. But hey, there's definitely some thought process to be had. Starry maybe looking towards that as a second item, especially in a lower physical damage game from him. The lethality also means A little more. Vikla gets himself a good trade there. Well, doesn't quite get himself to double taps. It's not quite exactly what he wanted. Xiaohao, clean first clear from him. Tianjin not really able to fight in the early levels of the game. Once you get towards level 3, you can do, but you are really waiting for that level 6, and Ivan is much more powerful at the earlier levels, the very first of the game, before the Vi comes online.
Yeah, it's almost, you've got the cease and desist versus, 6th man of the year, Daisy, right?
True.
Which we all know at early levels functions much like the 6th champion of the game. God, why is Daisy so damn strong? Like, I get why, but like... I've seen Daisy solo 80 carries.
You know my favorite. So I like to have jokes with myself and rename champion abilities because I find them funny. So I do this a lot for when Silas steals champions' ultimates, and my favorite one in the game. Well, there are two. One is On Ult, which is Call of the Forgery God because it's not the real one, and then the other one is, of course, Ivern's ultimate, which is normally Daisy, but then it becomes Peach, because your ultimate is in another castle.
Oh my god!
So when we finally get ourselves around to a Silas Ivern meta again, that was good. Oh yeah, but the third one, by the way, as well, is when you have when you have Silas versus Azir, and they both cast the ultimate at the same time. It's like, I promise I won't talk about the 256 man Macedonian phalanx. Me 3 drinks later, both of them ulting at the same time. So I call that Macedonian warfare, which is one of my favorite ones as well. Sadly, none of these particularly relevant in this game, but hey, I like to talk about this stuff because I find it funny.
Hey, listen, I'm a phalanx enjoyer, all right? Let me tell you, as a Greek person, I'm a big proponent of the phalanx. Well, one of the greatest military inventions of all time.
As a Rome Total War enjoyer and a proud player of the Macedon faction in that game, me too, buddy. That won me so many different campaigns with that, with the hammer and anvil combination. It was a fun old time.
I would have never guessed the Daisy Peach thing, though. It's so obvious.
That's why they pay me, I say, the big bucks. I'm completely doing this thing for free right now, but that's why they could pay me the big bucks.
That's why they occasionally pay you the big bucks.
Yeah, that's the one.
There we go. There we go. As Harry is having a grand old time, we talked about how Rumble was going to have the shove-in. Null Magic Mantle had to be bought early by Xiaozhu. And a nice little CS lead, but a big crash up top. All's quiet on the Western Front. Otherwise, we've seen Vikla getting... a couple pot shots onto Angel, but nothing more. Although Angel did have to back without teleport available this time.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's okay for Angel. He gets himself something in there. You're expecting some of these early. The Lucian earlier is going to do some damage, and the fact that you're only 5 CS behind is completely fine. And Angel's at a point of power. At least he's at a safe point now, which he's got multiple levels into his Q. He can be a lot more effective at clearing through the wave. Similar in the top lane, you might think that the CS advantage is really bad. Xiaoshu's playing the matchup well, badly rather. It's not that bad. I mean, you're against a Rumble. Rumble's been nerfed. Still going to be quite effective in that laning phase. As long as you stay within touching distance, is fine. What we've seen a lot of LPL Aatrox go towards his first item, Hex Drinker. I think I still prefer first item Merc Treads and then into Tunneler for the extra HP, because I prefer the HP building Aatrox, especially in a game like this, because one of the problems that Xiaoshu might have a problem with later is how quickly he can get soloed out if he goes for a flank angle. If you go towards the Sundered Sky and you've got the Merc Treads and you go towards a bit more of your tankiness, especially with the Aatrox changes to benefit more max HP, you can be a lot more safe. We might have ourselves a fight towards this top river, though. The Spectator is potentially looking towards seeing if Tianjin can get himself a last smite.
Yeah, it looks like we're not going to see the link up of mid lane to find their way up here, so it'll just be 2 grubs for 1. There's a bit of a catch out here as PP God burning, but still alive somehow. So that ends up going 2 grubs for OMG. I thought that Rare Adam was going to be able to secure that second grub.
Yeah, they walked away from him. Tianjin goes into burst. Of course, Vi not the fastest 3 grub taker, but kills the first grub just fine. Goes in and takes that one. Tianjin somehow didn't even have to use the smite, or maybe it just came off the cooldown. I wasn't completely watching that one. So, another close early game. Some split objectives. We've got lanes which are very much competitive, and I like this. Look, these are 2 teams which are at the top of the Nirvana group. They're scrappy. We know that one team, when they get ahead of the game, will very much run through that advantage. Game 1, blink and you miss it. It was completely over. But the fights were very, very back and forth up until the final decisive blow. And I want to see that kind of gameplay. As look, one thing you have to learn about LPL observers, they are savage as fuck. They will zoom in on you, losing those cannon minions every single time. And right there, saw that Xiaoshu missed that one up there. So it's a shame, but the LPL observers, they don't miss that stuff.
Yeah, as you should point that out, because You can't be missing cannon minions. I don't care how bad your lane is. I don't care if it's lane swap meta and the cannon wave is crashing because you're getting dove by 4 people. You can't miss your cannon minions. It's too big of a source of gold.
You know, there's a chat command in my channel which I don't advertise that much because I've had it for so long and I just forget about it. It's !cannon, and it says that basically it's a copy paste which says that I've never missed a cannon in my life. I'm just saving them for later. But it keeps track of me every time that someone's pressed that in chat. I've just never kept up with the amount of times it's been pressed, but it's still there. And I'll just check in with it every so often at some point. Well, coming back into this game, it's been very close. Not necessarily that scrappy so far. We're waiting for those first items. Xiaoshu's close to us towards his Hex Drinker, so he'll be happy with that. But if OMG can get themselves a good play with Tianzhen's first ult of the game, I think they can start blowing out one of these matchups. Xiaoshu's not that high HP. That's not a great equalizer, though. Chunks him down. Maybe Tianzhen can look for the burst, but I don't think he can really do much here.
I thought it was maybe to clear that wave out faster so Tianzhen could get up there and maybe they want to dive Xiaoshu. It feels a little dangerous, but it's certainly doable with how big this wave is, crashing on the cannon wave. And it looks like they'll go for it because Harry is getting into the danger zone. Ultimate pop by this Aatrox, but the damage is far too great and the healing is not there. It's first blood, although Vikla looking for a little bit more, a little bit of help from his turret. And now in a 1v1, good flash to dodge out of the culling, and Vikla unable to continue the onslaught.
Yeah, Mensa, it's a 1-for-1. Who does this favor more? So this is a kill just before the Hex Trinker came in, and it's a kill over towards that Rumble. So we know that eventually Aatrox can overcome that Rumble matchup, especially with a bit of magic resist and a bit of HP. So Harry getting that extra gold to make sure he can stay a bit of that ahead of that matchup for a bit longer does matter quite a lot. Equalizer's been used at this point. The Q3 does lamp. He just doesn't have the damage at this point. No, Aatrox just doesn't have quite the early damage. It's a good flash forward from Vikla, gets himself one back. Tianzhen's first ult of the game does get some value. At least it gives something to that lane. I'm still going to call this worth for OMG despite the gold going up to the Lucian.
And you know what? I don't think Tianzhen had to go take that blue buff because the time it took for him to get that blue buff gave Vikla enough time to get up there and trade that play back. He wasn't even level 7 off of it. Obviously level 7 now, so you would have had much lower EXP, but I think you actually survive if you don't go for that. And now, you know, that blue buff transfer, Vikla could be real happy about it and continue to pour it on here in the mid lane because blue buff Lucian, I've never seen a happier player.
You know, funnily enough, Ivan Lucian used to be a thing ages ago, back when, hang on, that's W not going to land through there, okay, there's something. Blue buff and red buff, when you had the Ivan on your team, used to be so powerful for Lucian. He was so good with both of these buffs because he's very cooldown reliant, very mana reliant, but also great with his auto attacks too. Ivan was the only person that used to share buffs back in the day. So you used to have Lucian Ivan back in like Season 7 with MLXG and Xiao who are doing good work. This time though, it's just going to be a fight towards the top side. Equalizer not available just yet. Coming up now, we end up disengaging the players. Daisy, the one person to fall. Goodbye, Daisy.
No!
We'll see you soon. Should we hold like a memorial service for Daisy?
Yeah, a moment of silence, perhaps a eulogy even.
No, hang on. Oh, you know, one of my favorite community memes was, you were around since Season 2. Remember the moment of 99% slow for Talon, where they changed his his blink away from being a silence for 99% slow? That was hilarious to me. That
was disgusting. I'm not sure what was worse because damn, silences were so annoying back in the day.
It was Talon and LeBlanc they would want. It was one of the ways they made assassins work, but they were so disgustingly broken that they would
Could
just
you imagine LeBlanc today if the silence was still a thing? Could you imagine?
It would be absolutely terrifying. All of these mobile AD carries immediately dying. Harry might be finding himself in a position of immediately dying. No, Flash uses the ult, gonna die all the same.
Yeah, that equalizer not gonna do a whole lot. He's gonna sit on top of it and close his eyes and pray that they stop hitting him for some reason.
That is, like I said in various other casts, that's not an equalizer. That's a subtraction at that point, as he just dies for nothing. Xiaoshu no longer has his ult, and now he might just be the one to die instead.
Yeah, he no longer has teammates either. And Tianzhen does have enough damage, and Xiaoshu not enough sustain.
Yeah, so, while it was not maybe the best equalizer, OMG have still balanced the equation. As, wait, was that just the Gromp being... I think Angel just tagged the Gromp. Was he trying to stack up his tier because he wants to hit the Q onto a target? Maybe he's just stacking up his tier on the Gromp.
Yeah, maybe. I just thought Gromp was coming in for a turret dive.
That's the one. Classic
Assume's been rooted up here. PP God is here, but a mid lane fight is never a 1v1 or a 2v1, and Angel is flying in as well as Tianzhen as they get on top of Assume and take him out. Teleport is here for Xiaozhu, forcing flashes. but they're not able to catch any members of OMG out.
So the Avengers come to play. They assemble in the mid lane. One wall coming from one side and then Chen from the other. While all this is happening, a kill goes to OMG, and they also manage to keep Harry alone in this top side with 5 grubs. 5 grubs, and of course the pen boots as well give you extra damage on tower. So Xiaoshu came in to teleport into that mid lane, tried to affect things. Sadly, doesn't do anything and ends up falling further behind in the individual matchup. That's really not what you want to see here as Xiaoshu, who Camille last game, Aatrox this game's not necessarily working out the way that he wanted. And Harry,
oh my goodness,
with the Ignite in as well. Look, I get you have a Hex Drinker. Ignite is true damage. That is not going to help you with regards to that.
Yeah, there's fire, and then there's true fire, right? It's the blue fire. Blue
Sounds
fire
like a
does
George R. R.
does
Martin kind of thing.
yeah, blue fire does more damage. You know, it's just scientifically proven. But yeah, it's been a tough series for Zhangzhu here. I think Harry has done a really fantastic job so far. Up big in CS. Now the question is, will Harry die on this attempted play coming in from Rare Atom, or will he, elect to give up some of his keep here in top lane?
I mean, he has Flash coming up soon. He has an Equalizer, and he does have some HP components now. Look, I'm not going to go towards the double Summoner Rumble with that kind of gold lead. That probably sounds like that. That's how you lose League of Legends, I've heard. You can see Starry setting up shop in this mid lane. Has gone towards the shift. I want to see Starry go towards a... I do really want to see him go towards that Serpent's Fang later on. I think second item Serpent's Fang here is so broken for his team, especially with the shielding coming in from the Ivan. Going to hit Joy there with that W. Jim is a champion of a lot of controversy. He is at a decent point of power right now, though. Can he get himself into this fight? Dragon going uncontested. Tianjin does have ult coming up right now. Harry not at the play. I don't think he should take the play without the Rumble.
Yeah, this is just what happens when you don't have teleport available. Sometimes you got to give objectives. That'll be a Hextech trait going over. Daisy just
no!
Once again, sacrificial lamb. We love that. We stand Daisy in this household. Is looking for a bit of an engagement here onto the support. Jue is taking a lot of damage, but Tianzhen gets a lot on the way back. Assume with a perfect bullet time, and flashes are forced away as the team's not giving up an inch. Nobody's lost the big fight yet, Nymaera.
No, not yet, but it is still a kill and the Dragon over to Rare Atom. So while there are good advantages here from OMG, and they have themselves this Rumble and a real point of power, they're not running away with this game. It's definitely not like that. This has been a scrappy series so far, and right there, just as we saw, full channel bullet time. That's a bullet minute at that point, as Tianjin, he's fairly tanky with the first HP items. At this first item, the Vi tends to be a lot tankier than the AP junglers that you see in meta right now. Not tanky enough to go through that full ultimate. OMG, they still have themselves demolished and 5 grubs. They get themselves really good tower damage, so if they go towards these side lanes, which they can absolutely do so. That can be very, very powerful for them. Of course, neither of these teams have been great at going towards side lanes when objectives are happening. They've just been throwing themselves at the enemy team and hoping for the best. And hey, you know what? They've been doing pretty well at that so far. So, well, okay. No, Ari, I say that. They did kind of just lose that last game based on that. So I'm going to take that one back. It has been entertaining, so I'll accept it.
Yeah, and, we saw OMG last time with this many grubs and what they were able to do in one fight. Let's take a look at this replay. Hey, sometimes you just gotta hit the go button on the support, but golly, that bullet time was...
Are you kidding me? That's not... I didn't quite realize that at the time because I was focused on the bullet time. That was not just a full bullet time. That was a full culling as well. That was a four-gun salute to Vi's demise. That was... I'm surprised that Tianjin lived that long if you got the full channel of both those ults on him. Yeah. That is an insane amount of firepower.
Said, hit me with your best shot, and they said, all right, that's fine. We'll hit you with everything we got. And the kitchen sink, too. I'm not sure if you saw that. The kitchen sink.
No, I did. I missed that one, too. Damn. No, I'll need to get a new one.
Yeah, Hey, listen, the visuals on the kitchen sink have not been updated in many years.
It actually looks like, it looks actually like a smoothbore musket ball coming out of...
Tally-ho, lads!
It's the one. See if we can get any rifling on that one to make it a bit more accurate the next... Well, I said no, it was fairly accurate. Well, we'll see if the rifling improves on that one. Herald now object to both teams. Sorry, that objective. So now up Daisy has rejoined us once again. No longer being pushed up. Pushing up Daisies has kind of been what OMG are aiming to do so far. It's going to go down. OMG, they've split towards the side lanes again. I think this is okay. I think this is right. They have typically gone towards the objective. They don't overfight this one. PP God needs to get E out here. He does, just about, as he was caught weirdly throughout that wall. But OMG looked to split the map a little bit more as a tower was taken in bot side. So Harry getting some more gold for himself.
We're turned on the walkthrough walls cheat code for a second there. But I really like that Rare Atom was able to pick up this Rift Herald because if you take a look, they haven't gotten the greatest damage on some of these structures, and they need to break something because they're in danger of just falling too far behind.
Dre.
Oh, that's just poor timing. That is just unlucky. Dre is going to take a lot of damage. But again, the culling combo with the bullet time is too much, but Vikla is all alone, and there is plenty of damage that OMG has. Xiao Hao going to be the next target. He's forced to flash away. Assume looking to turn this around as the health bars get lower, but doesn't have a clear path into the fight.
I am loving how scrappy these fights are. OMG, they once again walk into the 4-gun salute, all guns blazing. That's, I don't know, call it Toho League of Legends at that point, the way it's bullet hell. But OMG, walk back with more...
They're just playing Swarm.
They're playing Swarm. You know, for me, I was always a Binding of Isaac player, so for me, I load into the Hush fight, and I'm sat there thinking... The Aatrox ain't got nothing on this, but OMG, yeah, they managed to fight back better this time. You can see that the timing coming in from RA is just really unfortunate. As by the time the Zenith Blade comes out, the ult is already being shadowed. It's just unfortunate time from Dre. Maybe he thinks he can get away with it. The bullet time's not bad though. Again, look at the 4 guns firing across the team. Angel massively burst out. Then Vikla goes too far. He probably should have positioned further backwards at that point, and a lot of the combo from OMG is still available. Both of these teams has powerful team fight combos to bring to bear, and you can see right there, the Vi Rumble did a lot of turnaround damage.
Yeah, RA should consider themselves lucky that that fight did not go worse, because that had all the makings of a clean 1-0, or heck, even a 2-0, but Vikla also burned his flash in that fight when I don't think he needed to. I think his goose was well and truly cooked. So big summoner down for the Lucian. When you're up against a Vi, not having a flash is almost always a death sentence.
It especially when you got the follow-up with the Jhin and the Rumble as well, particularly because now Jin's picked up a lot of gold. Starry's going to be a big damage threat. And Jhin is a weird champion because he can do situationally great damage. He's gone towards the fire cannon. I think that's a mistake in terms of the itemization. Should have gone towards that Serpent's Fang, but still do damage all the same. Now, Dragon started up. A wall coming up from Angel. Herald put down in mid lane. Starry not in position to influence this fight right now, so the Herald's just going to pop that mid lane turret alone for a little bit.
Xiaoju on the bottom side here, looking for an engage, and they find a priority target. They are going after the Vi. Ultimate off to the side, bursting out the Misfortune as RA's backside, though. They are untouched for right now, but they've gone a little too deep as the Leona has nowhere to go. Xiaoju is super low. He's going to try to get out, but he gets shot in the back, and it's only Vikla staring down the rest of OMG. Angel to teleport to try to cut him off, but the team will be able to take him out all the same, and OMG make a beeline for the Baron.
It's scrappy fights all game long, but once again, OMG find themselves on the right side of this cutting knife. Starry, really the star of that last play. Huge value out of the Jhin. It's not a champion which has always done well in pro play. It's sometimes fallen up and done 0 damage, but he got huge value out of his roots, out of his auto attacks, and of course out of that ultimate as well. It's going to lead to the Baron. 5-man Baron picked up by OMG. RA, yes, they get themselves that soul point, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as easy as that for the rest of this game. Baron's gone down. Xiaoshu not able to influence this game. Angel might just be caught out, though.
Yeah, at least they'll make a quick play here, and they'll be able to pick up Angel. You get something, 400 gold for Xiaoju, but it's still not worth it. Yes, you got the dragon. Yes, you got that kill, but you lost so much more, as once again a fantastic Talia wall when it was time for RA to engage.
And I think this time you see the combo fails from RA. You don't get that bullet time at all in this play, whereas OMG, they were just much better at pulling the trigger in the right coordinated motions. Yes, it was Tianjin, poor flash at the beginning, but still combos up at the end. Great accuracy from Starry, gets himself a great finish off there. W comes through, so not even Vikla can escape. Angel was teleporting to cut him off at the pass. Didn't really actually need to because of the accuracy coming in from Starry, and that's all she wrote for that one. Great play. See OMG's coaching staff happy with that one in the back rooms. Remember, if they win this game, they go to first in the Nirvana group to play as first seed from the lower group in the LPL. In that Knights rival stage, they'll be likely playing against TT, who they did lose a Series 2 recently, so it's not going to be necessarily the easiest time, but it'll be a best of 5 for them to earn themselves a playoff spot at the last gasp.
I think the biggest problem for Rare Atom here is they still had so many structures left alive. A lot of standing gold on the map for OMG to just take and ensure that this game is never close again. That might be the one fight that sinks Rare Atom. We'll have to wait and see. Always a chance when you can get a soul, especially an Infernal Soul, get that extra nice kick of damage. The question is, how much are you going to lose before this dragon, and what are you going to lose to try and secure that dragon?
And particularly,
30 seconds.
Particularly when it's particularly when it's two very combo-reliant, engage, big team fight comps too for both these teams. If you are losing side lanes, and you've lost that Baron, and you've now lost that mid lane outer turret as well, your angles of attack get much more narrow. And that is a huge thing when we've seen around objectives across the whole spectrum of the LPL, from the top teams to the bottom teams. If you get Baron, you get yourself this ability to clear through most of the map. Just look at the vision coming in from OMG. That's going to help. Look at the push they've got in all the lanes as well. That's going to help too. If they can keep that up for the next minute, the Baron buff, get themselves a reset, and keep that vision up too, RA are going to struggle to pull that combo off again. They looked good when they got that culling bullet time combo off in the first couple of fights of this game. It's not going to be as easy to do that this time, and I think the next fight is going to be really very, very different from those first couple. OMG, now they're pushing in towards this inner turret, see if they can force something with the Talia wall.
That combo also required like near perfect conditions as Daisy comes in from over the top, and PP God is the first to get engaged on. Xiaozhu off to the side looking to drive back Angel and the rest of the team, but they turn the engage onto Xiaozhu, who takes a lot of damage, but they continue to push forward. PP God's got to go over the wall. Harry wasn't able to join this fight. A lot of low health bars. Equalizer only hits one member, that's Xiaozhu. So OMG gets driven back by RA, and they're very healthy health bars.
No, that was not a bad solar flare. The bullet time doesn't get much done though, and Xiaoshu can't really manage to get much done, even though he managed to avoid the minefield from Angel. That all at the end from Harry, I believe that was blind, so I'm not going to criticize him too much for that one. Still, minute until Dragon, RA were trying to take a fight there against the last bit of their Baron buff, and also just to make sure that their setup was in a much better place.
Yeah, the good news for RA is this Baron getting it timed out here for OMG, so they were able to take like what, two turrets off of it. It's not the end of the world. It is still doable. It is a 5,000 gold deficit, but as always, it gets harder. Xiaohao, though, is going to be able to shield up these big carries. We'll see if Xiaozhu is ever able to get to the point of sustaining hard and getting these shields. It's exactly what Rare Adam's going to need in order to stay in this game.
So 30 seconds until that Dragon. Infinity Edge onto both AD carries, but the full 3 items from Starry is so important. Tianjin has flash, has ult. He's powerful too. He might go for Engager any given moment, especially if he's in range of Angel. They can do so much damage. They spot out Xiaoshu down here. You'll know that. Blue trigger's down there. This is a problem. Xiaoshu, he's caught out alone there. I was wondering whether the trigger would be pulled even at that point. There was no response within range from Rare Atom. Not able to pull the trigger though, and it's going to be Rare Atom taking a turret on that top side. Vikla can go back, get himself a teleport into the play, and now R8 may be able to force through mid lane and look for a new engage of their own.
Here comes that teleport. Vi is on this dragon, but it's still very healthy as Daisy is coming in to try and get some vision.
Man,
the walking ward known as Daisy. Good Weaver's Wall, but they're not putting a lot of damage onto this dragon, so it doesn't keep RA out for that long, and now the opportunity for Xiaohao to make something happen is here. Trying to get this dragon onto RA. Yeah, force RA to put the damage in.
Xiaoshu has flash, has the blast cone. He can get somewhere as well. If this is a front to back, I think it favors RA. The big combo from OMG needs to be strong. He's going in.
Oh, he flashes forward, but they're going to get on top of Vikla, who gets blown up. He's still alive for right now. Flashing forward, trying to get as much damage as he can out. But Harry is overheated and doing a lot, and Starry was untouched, and he manages to take down Assume. And it's all OMG here, as the Leona is the last one standing. Yeah, you got the soul, but you gave 5 souls for it.
OMG almost gets torn apart by the bullet time. I thought that might be the difference, but it doesn't quite end up like that. There's so much damage put down onto OMG, but they managed to turn it back with Starry on the Jhin once again, being the main character of that play. It's still that soul over. It's not going to be game ending. You know what? I think I favor RA in this play.
Yeah.
Even though you're giving up towers for this, the Infernal Soul is permanent. The kills, yes, they're going to give those towers over to OMG, and the gold lead is now very substantial, but when you have stuff like the Misfortune, we can proc that Infernal Soul from a very long distance away. That is more than I thought RA were guaranteed in this game. They'll definitely take that from the position they're in. Joy gets a point-and-click stun onto Tianjin, but he pops that ult right there. But look how Angel just gets shredded. Angel doesn't get to impact this play. He doesn't get the immediate combo. And I do think that the turnaround was good from Harry and the Starry with their big ultimates, but the fact this fight went the way it did and they lost 3 members in this, given how well they've been fighting before, is not what OMG would have wanted. It's 5 for 3, soul over to, of course, RA, but the turrets going over to OMG at least give them the short-term benefits. RA now need to prove they can use this Infernal Soul well to make up for that fight.
Yeah, they have a lifeline in this game that was looking increasingly to go in the favor of OMG. The bad news is OMG has all the vision on this top side and can rip this Baron whenever they want. I do wonder if there's some PTSD when it comes to Barons, especially with how the last game went, and Baron was a little disastrous for OMG. But as you said, plenty of damage for RA. Is that enough to cover this 6,500 gold deficit?
Well, Harry is very, very strong. Xiaoshu's on the flank again, has that flash. That's a big equalizer though. Jue killed for free. Even though it was a decent solar flare in return, Jue has had a torrid time trying to get onto the enemy team comp. This is the losing support syndrome a little bit. OMG do use that equalizer. That is a big tool down. Alright, I don't know if they have themselves the lockup now to go towards this Baron. Daisy's back up again, and they'll be the forward scout.
Alright, it's a 4.5v5. This Baron is gone, and Daisy's going to be gone in a couple of moments too. OMG able to get that with relative ease. Great use of the tools that they had. Being able to take out the Leona and stop RA from doing a whole lot.
You know, the last time I saw OMG on the Rift, hang on, there might be a fight around it. Nah, not quite, okay. But OMG, the last time I saw them on the Rift was versus TT before this, and they looked quite poor because they had a composition that day. They had compositions which were quite slow at engaging, and I think that ended up being a big problem for them. When they have that snap engage, things really work in their favor. Having the Rakan, the Vi, it really works out for the way this team wants to play the game. I think Rare Atom, they're a team which also thrive in quick engage comps too, but they also need those flanks to work out. If they are getting engaged on snappily enough, though, you can see that the players which are setting up for those players are not able to get into the same position that they have done before. OMG, this has been a much better series for them. I preferred their drafts, and I preferred the way that they've played around these big combos too. You're now at a point where Starry has 1 million damage. Harry has almost 4 items too. He's got the Oblivion Orb as well to cut down some of the healing that can come through from Rare Atom's comp, particularly with the Bloodthirster, and then of course the Ivern heals as well coming in from the Redemption. OMG, this has been a much better series from them. They are deservedly ahead in this game, and they deservedly played the last one with the way that their team fights went.
Yeah, and despite how good this game has gone, obviously you got to talk about they did hand over 4 dragons, and things weren't as clean as they could be, but they have objectively played a really solid series, and a series that means so much for both of these teams. OMG trying to give themselves that lifeline when it comes to playoffs and the play-ins. So we'll see if RA can hold their ground. They haven't lost any structures in their base yet, so it always means you have a shot.
Yeah, you know, the Nexus is still standing, technically still in it. It's so hard to see how they can get clean wins, though. Jue's been struggling to get onto the key targets. If you manage to catch Angel and Starry at the same time, that's your go button. But I just don't think they're ever going to be positioning together because of the way that the team comp wants. Angel wants to be walking up to combo with the Vine. Starry wants to be standing back for W's and for his ult as well. You're not going to catch them at the same time, which means it's very hard for RA to get a clean pick without the other one responding. Angel's coming in now, and down goes that turret with the last few seconds of the Baron.
Yep. Another nice usage of Weaver's Wall. And that's what, you know, fights around these inhibitor turrets are always the ones that can go a little poorly. As, hey, listen, he went for it. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and Jue misses 100% of the shots they do take in this case.
That was actually the one time they could have caught both carries at once. That was the right time. You can see the angle. Angel and Starry stood next to each other, couldn't quite get it. Daisy dies again. It has been, sadly, a bit of a, I don't know, herbicide at this point. Daisy's really not been that well piloted by Xiaohao, and really not gotten that much value. Starry's ult comes out. Here comes the dive.
Oh, that's so much damage. Goodbye. Just ripped apart as assumed. And that could do it here as OMG has well and fully broken the base. It's a 5v4. Strongest member of RA is down, and they are pushing on to the Nexus turrets. Jue is the one who gets caught out. They combo everything they need together. Starry takes a lot of damage. It could be time for an Aatrox moment here as Vikla dumps out as much damage as he can. A lot of low health bars, but it's a 4v2 for right now. The question is Ivor going to be able to help this Aatrox persevere and heal up? No, it's not enough. Harry and PP God are the ones to shut him down. Not sure if they're going to be able to end the game because Assume is up in 10 seconds.
And now the Elder's alive as well. Xiaoshu has an Aatrox moment, but I think it will just be that. A moment, a flash in the plan. Yeah, it's going to be RA getting some shutdowns off of that. They have that Infernal Soul, which gives them some extra damage, and Xiaoshu turns around in the right moment, has that Sundered Sky now for the extra HP. Harry, he doesn't have a teleport. He steals the red buff away from RA, but with the respawns coming from RA, there is a chance that they could rush towards the Elder itself. There's no teleports on the side of OMG. It's not going to be a backdoor potential for OMG because of that. They might lose Nexus turrets to the 2 super minion waves, though, going towards the base. Things open up with a huge amount of ultimates being used for this first kill. Now, that's good. You get the kill. Problem is, you don't have your ultimates afterwards. They are a combo-reliant comp, and they do manage to hit a unassisted Talia combo after this, which gets another kill afterwards. I think they get a bit hypey after this point, though. They get themselves a bit into an extended play as good culling from Vikla makes things really nasty. A flash back to form that Q2 from Xiaoshu. Gets a huge amount of damage done. Xiaoshu on the Aatrox. We knew that this is the kind of damage that the Aatrox can do. It's just really hard to get this consistently.
Yeah, and a lot of the good in that fight came from Vikla being off the radar of OMG because they had to focus so much on the Aatroxes. RA has now linked up. Xiaozhu does have teleport available as the teams begin the Elder Dragon dance. Xiaozhu does have to play some defense here with super minion waves bearing on them from top and mid. Yeah, they're just going to start
walking mid. I think RA are out of position. That's an ult towards the base. One of those Nexus turrets is down. They're not going to be able to catch out Xiaoshu, but the world ender being down is huge. We just saw how much damage he can do. We're into smoke and mirror territory now, and that's an ult and a choke point.
Joy is going to have to be the one to be the sacrificial lamb and give his life. Flashes away, alive for now. It's a good bullet time to keep the support alive and force away Tianjin. So there is still an opportunity for Rare Atom.
Maybe, but Dwayne now, the list missing his ult, missing his slash. I think that's your engaged down. There is a ward and Xiaoshu could teleport. I don't think he wanted to. Oh, God. Problem is, you give the Elder, you lose, but if you go towards it, you're not in a position to fight. They may be looking towards it, but it's already gone by the time that RA poke their heads into the pit. OMG, they walk away with eventually the Elder. They don't end the game. They do end up getting themselves the Elder. That will give them so many combat stats to go towards the Barons. They're going to get the Baron as well. And OMG, they look like they are on a collision course with a first place spot. And with Twisted, Twisted Tree Line. TT, Thunder Talk Gaming, very, very different. Be a 5v5, not a 3v3. That one in the Knights rival stage. Rare Atom, there is room for one last twist here to bring it to a third game, but it is looking oh so unlikely. So much gold in the advantage of OMG, even with the Infernal Soul from Rare Atom. They're struggling to hit the targets. They're struggling to defend themselves against the combo.
Yeah, it's been getting picked off these last couple of fights, whether it be Dway, whether it be Assume, to really kick off the full control for OMG. And I have to say, this combination of Vi and Talia, while it is not the most popular combination to play, it is certainly still effective. You know, keep that in the back of your mind, in the notebooks, coaches, because you can still win games by playing a comp like this.
Yeah, and you can see that Starry builds up quite a rare item, the Yuantal Wild Arrows. It's basically a second. Yeah. It's basically a second Infinity Edge. You crit on an auto attack and it applies a bleed. It's not the burst, but it will definitely start stacking up over time. OMG, they're going to take themselves the last inhib. The Elder's still available for a minute. There is one structure between the Nexus and OMG right now. It's that one last tower. Here comes the combo.
Oh my goodness. The blocks are at least there, but Assume gets chunked out. The last turret will fall. Bullet time is coming through. It's not hitting anybody. Tianjin is just buying more time for his team to rip through everybody. The healing for Xiaozhu, there is a lot of it, but he finally gets pulled below the threshold, blasted away by the Dragon's Breath, as OMG have achieved Nirvana, the #1 team out of the group.
Starry goes down, and the sky is briefly left a empty canvas, but OMG will be reaching towards them once more. First place in Nirvana secured for OMG, a team which I was fairly convinced would be a bottom 2 team in the LPL. They have fired above that. You get a 2 over Rare Atom, who, sadly for them, found out that some Rare Atoms have shorter half-lives than others. They will find themselves in 3rd place, and they'll be playing against, I believe, the loser of LGD and NIP, which happens tomorrow. So they'll be facing up against one of those Ascension team groups. OMG versus TT, and then of course IG will be against the winner of the 2 teams in the Ascension group that play off tomorrow in those bottom 2 berths from that upper group. This was a great series from OMG in terms of the way that they look for team fights. I think that Angel had a fantastic first game. I think that we can see how much Tianjin has revolutionized this team as well, despite him having a really awkward start in LPL on IG. He was not the player which people would look towards to say, oh yeah, this will revolutionize the team. But he has it on OMG, and serious credit to him. So we walk away from the series and from today's games as well. 4 games today, short day, and you know what? I'm very, very glad to have joined in this venture by you, Yanni. It's been great to have you on the cast today, so it's been a hell of a good set of casts to kind of get to know each other in that sense. Hello, my name's Nymaera. I'm also known as Alex, and this is Yanni as well, who's been my co-caster for today. We have been doing these kinds of streams when there is no official English broadcast for the LPL on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Now, funnily enough, Wednesday does have an official broadcast this week as it's the last day of the stage, which means that tomorrow will be the last day of this entire year, which you'll be able to see it in this kind of format. So please come and join us tomorrow. I believe Munchables is going to be around for that one as well, for the play-by-play. If you have enjoyed us doing this for the entire year, with about 170, 108, look, a lot of games done throughout the entirety of this year, which could have become lost media and lost to time where you wouldn't be able to see them besides the old dark annals of the internet. Please drop a follow, drop a sub. We have put hundreds, if not thousands of hours into this at this point. We're not doing it for any sort of upfront payment. The only thing we're getting from this is your followers and your followers, likes, and then of course the subscribes as well. It means an awful lot to us if you can drop any of them down there. But most importantly, if you have been here and you've been enjoying it, that's already mission accomplished. So Yanni, thank you so much for joining today. How did you feel about it?
Thank you for having me, first of all. Felt great about it, man. I mean, it was really tough. I was like, oh man, this is going to be an interesting night. You know what? Just going to enjoy League of Legends like I always do. And, more than happy to have done it with you. I really appreciate the opportunity from the bottom of my heart, sincerely. And it's been a great time. Your stream is really fun. I like the community you've cultivated over here. Everybody seems to have a great time in the chat with some really high-level analysis about the teams as well. And you know what? The games were entertaining, despite them being 2-0s. It's always a banger.